Hi there, it's Molly with Design Loves Detail, and we are talking cabinet colors. These are some of my very favorites, some of the hottest colors right now, and we're going to take a look at them up close so you can see how they translate in a larger space and actually on the cabinets rather than your tiny little paint sample. So let's check it out. All right, this is a space probably not many of you have ever seen. It is the laundry room of our mother-in-law apartment. So it's just been one of those spaces I hadn't really cleaned out. I had a bunch of crap in here, but I did just to show you the cabinet color. So this is actually Fair & Ball drop cloth, and it is kind of a classic, really, really neutral. And enough saturation that we do have contrast between this wall color, which is Benjamin Moore China White. So I like it because it does have some color without being, much at all. And it doesn't honestly have much of an undertone, little bit of grayish, but it can work, it doesn't feel too warm or too cool. So I like the flexibility with its neutrality, that's the word. Anyways, so love this space, and it's really just kind of a bonus space that we added in the mother-in-law apartment, and I even missed it on our tour because it wasn't in our original plan, but it was like available over the garage, and so we added it on, and it's really a nice utility area. So anyway, that cabinet color, again, Fair & Ball drop cloth. You can see it there, and this is paired with the, what's this granite name? Crap, I'll put it on the screen because I always forget this granite name, but it's a good one because this is what I use as a dupe to soapstone. So just as you're picking countertops with cabinet colors, that's one that I think is really like a clean, sharp contrast type look. So let's check out some more colors. All right, so now we're in the apartment kitchen, and this is a space that I've shared a full tour of. So if you haven't seen the apartment tour yet, check that video out. But this color, another favorite from Fair & Ball, is called Pigeon. You might have heard about it. I feel like it's gotten huge the last few years. First time I used this was in a laundry room, maybe like 5 years ago, and I loved it so much. I wanted to use it in my own home, and so here it is. And make sure when you all are doing paint colors that you get a sample from your cabinet company, because often they use a little bit different method. It's typically a lacquer finish on cabinets, and sometimes they translate, even though you're matching a paint color, sometimes they'll translate a tiny bit different. So I would say this is just a tad different than Pigeon straight from Fair & Ball looks, but I love it. It's quite close to it. So, and then this is the Lavezzi quartzite that I paired with it, but this one looks really good with a black countertop as well. I've done that. And anyway, it's just a really, really good, soft, subtle green with enough gray in it that it's not too in your face, but it still definitely has color and saturation. Now I'm in our butler's pantry, and this color is one that I've used a lot too. This is Sherwin-Williams Morris Room Gray. It's kind of a funky one, but like I have used it probably 4 times now, and every single time it's been amazing. So this one is kind of a mushroom tone. When you want something that feels a little bit saturated, a little bit moody, but not too much, this is a good one. I love it paired with a bronze or a gold hardware. Even black it looks really great with. And you can kind of see how it all looks here. This is the Lavezzi quartzite again that I've paired it with. And just a random thing while I'm thinking cabinets, I wanted this to have all drawers look, and this is actually a door that we made look like drawers on the front so that we could keep the consistency and have the look of drawers, but a little more functionality, because with the sink drop down, it was kind of tricky to have the drawers, and sometimes you need that under sink storage for larger spaces, so that allowed us that with it having more of a symmetrical look all the way across. Here's another area where I used the Morris Room Gray. So you can see it this is in our downstairs kitchen, the basement area. So a little bit different lighting, but you can see it's really pretty here with the brassy golden tones as well. Kind of gives you just another place to see that color. And then for the island in here, I actually did a little bit lighter color. This is Benjamin Moore Collingwood. And then we did a brown glaze, kind of over that tambour detail. This island is one of my favorite in the house just because it's so quirky and fun with the oval shape, and then that extra wide tambour, I think is what it's called, detailing around. And I, of course, used the infamous Taj Mahal down here. So that's another one that I think looks really pretty with Morris Room Gray, and again, wall color in the Benjamin Moore China White. So that's really, I think, nice together with everything we have going in this space. Another really great neutral that I used in our home is Benjamin Moore Pashmina. This one is a little bit more warm and a little bit darker than that Farrow and Ball drop cloth that I shared. So again, really nice with the wall color Benjamin Moore China White, which is one of my favorites because it's just such a good neutral that doesn't lean too yellow like some creamy tones can. And this is paired down here with the Black Mist Granite in a honed finish. I always love to do the honed finish. And this color, you can also see it here on the open shelves. It is, I think, a really nice, like, if you want to do something different than a white kitchen, which has been done so many times, this is like a good middle ground because it still is going to feel bright and fresh, but not boring. So I recommend that one for sure. And then in these cabinets, just while we're talking cabinets, this is a grass cloth. We actually did a grass cloth inlay. So these have basically a panel instead of that typical panel you might have. These are wrapped, or they have the grass cloth that goes between, and luckily our cabinet company, Deco Design, is willing to try any crazy ideas so far that I throw at them, and they did such a good job on those. I wanted a little texture and interest, especially with that curved arch detail at the top. I always try to make, especially stuff like laundry rooms, have a little something cool and interesting so that we don't feel boring. In the mudroom, I also used a Farrow and Ball color, but a little bit different because I wanted to turn it in kind of a stained look. So we took the Farrow and Ball, I think it's pronounced Treron, T-R-E-R-O-N, that's it. Kind of a greenish tone. That's really cool. Another cool cabinet color on its own, but I wanted something a little bit more subdued. So we took that color and made it into a stain. My cabinet guy did that, so I don't know his exact process, but I think a lot of times you can do that. Ask them to kind of turn a color into a stain, and then when you get your sample, you can kind of just tweak it a little bit. There's definitely a lot of times in design, I feel like, where we have to get a little bit out of the box with paint colors, you know, where either you do a percentage of a tone or something like this where we kind of turn it into a stain, just to kind of get it exactly what's in your mind. And this one, I really love how this turned out. Of course I wanted the cabinets to have uniqueness and also the ability to breathe because of kids, you know, and their, you know, dirty clothes that might end up in here. So this is what we ended up with, and I love how it's got that European feel. So this green's just really nice because it's kind of a warm gray green, which gives it some element of color while still being overall pretty neutral feeling. So definitely love that color and how this turned out in more of a stain form. Hopefully that gave you guys a few ideas for cabinetry colors. I also love a lot of these colors on doors and just kind of accent walls, things like that, trim details. They're really nice because they're neutral, but still enough color to be interesting, in my opinion. I don't love big, bold colors. Of course, I like a little subtle. And I usually look for colors, like I've said before, that have kind of a grayed down feel. So rather than just going for a straight green or a straight blue, I usually look for sort of a grayed down version of that, or even a gray tone that has heavy undertones of greens or blues, things like that. So let me know what you guys think. If you have a favorite cabinet color of your own, drop it into comments. And thanks for watching. I will see you next week.